Hello everybody and welcome back to Split Couch Games. Ben here, and I've got another Skyrim Special Edition mod video for you today. This one's a little bit different, and it's going to be a much shorter video, primarily because it's just simply me going over my load order and, why I have certain mods there. It's mainly just going to be a bunch of preferential stuff, but there have been a few people that have asked to see my load order, so I figured why the heck not make it a video. So let's get into it. Okay, so as you can plainly see, I'm using 4.17 gigabytes out of my total 5 gigabyte allotment. This is my load order without the Falskar mod installed, because now that I'm done playing through it and everything, I have removed it from my load order. So that I can, continue doing other stuff, and I have a few mods installed that will probably be removed eventually as well, just because I'm, testing them out, and I am going to be covering some of the other quest mods that I have installed later on in a different video. But, as you can see here, first up we have the Unofficial Skyrim Special Edition patch. And that is something that if you are playing a modded version of Skyrim, you will most undoubtedly want this in your load order. It fixes a lot of bugs that Bethesda has not fixed, and it's essential to some mods, but not essential to all of them. I do believe that a Campfire does require it. So if you want to use the next mod on my list, which is Campfire Complete Camping System, then you will need the Unofficial Skyrim Special Edition patch, I believe. Doesn't actually say in here if it needs it. So I don't believe it needs it, but like I said, some mods do require the use of the Unofficial Skyrim Special Edition patch. So if you don't use that, I would highly recommend it. It does fix some exploits in the game as well as a lot of other bugs, so keep that in mind. But honestly, with things like the cheat room and all that kind of stuff, I don't know why you would need to use the exploits anyways, but that's irrelevant. The Campfire Complete Camping System is a mod that adds in tents and campfires and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty neat system. It goes hand in hand with Frostfall, and I enjoy it thoroughly. Like that and Frostfall, which is a survival mod that I'll get into when I get to it on the load order. I enjoy it a lot. It just kind of adds that little bit of immersion. Marco's integrated leveled list is something that I covered in my very first mod video. It essentially just kind of distributes a lot of different gear throughout the entire game. So gear that was added in the Dragonborn DLC and that kind of thing, that is scattered throughout all of Skyrim now and can be found everywhere as opposed to just in that DLC area. Alternate Start, Live Another Life. This is a mod that I highly recommend if you've played Skyrim before and you're tired of the vanilla start. This will allow you to start the game in a unique manner. You can start it as like a landowner or farmer, or somebody who just arrived in Skyrim off of a ship or something like that. It offers tons of different options, and it creates kind of a unique start that isn't the whole the whole carriage ride into dragons, all that kind of crap. It pretty much gets rid of that. It does still offer it as an option, and being such a small mod at just 12.25 megs, it's a pretty good mod to have, because even if you do want that vanilla start for some of your characters, having this mod doesn't get rid of that. You can choose the vanilla start, but you can also choose plenty of others. And choosing one of the alternate starts will change certain aspects of the game, such as your starting gear, whether or not you own any property, that kind of thing. Now, as I mentioned before, Frostfall is just a simple survival mod. It makes it so that you can, like freeze to death and all that kind of thing. It adds in exposure and wetness and all that kind of stuff. So if you're in a cold area and you are completely naked, you will freeze to death. It is highly customizable so that you can make it so that if you, quote unquote freeze to death, that your character doesn't actually die. Instead, you fall unconscious and wake up in a random nearby town. but you can also make it so that your character will die. It also adds in, you know, a few different new spells as well as some new skills, all that kind of stuff. It adds in, you know, icy visuals, shivering sound effects when you get too cold, all of this kind of stuff. And Campfire, like I mentioned previously, is required in order to use Frostfall. So keep that in mind. Wet and Cold just kind of adds random effects, such as you know, like sound effects for if you just ran through water, your footsteps will be a little sloshy. It can give you rain and snow blindness, which will kind of blur your screen a bit, and, you know, strong storms and that kind of thing. It'll also make it so that if your character gets wet or if you're snowy, that effect essentially shows up on your character. And it also gives things such as, you know, like your breath showing up when it's cold out, that kind of thing. We have the Forgotten City, which is quest mod, Moon and Star, also a quest mod, and then Vivid Weathers Special Edition, just a simple weather mod. Well, I shouldn't say simple. It is, you know, 500 plus new weathers, so it's fairly complicated, but I prefer this one in contrast to things like Climates of Tamriel and everything, just because I feel like it gives a much clearer visual aesthetic, and I feel like the weathers and sound effects and everything that accompany them are a little more to my liking. Weather mods are completely opinion based, so if you're interested in those, I can always do a comparison video later on, but like I said, I use Vivid Weathers. Display enhancements. This just kind of adds and adjusts different lighting and that kind of thing. It's easiest if you look at the mod itself, which I don't know if I can do from here because reasons. But the pictures provided by the mod will show, you know, like what an area would look like with or without that. It kind of does the same thing as what like Vivid Weathers might do, but it does it for some of the indoor areas. So some of the darks are darker, lights are lighter. There's more ambient glow from candles and that kind of thing. Just some, you know, few minor tweaks. It's nothing, you know, too drastic. Just a nice little polish touch. Skyland, I'm sure a lot of you know, it's a massive landscape texture overhaul. I use this one instead of you know, some of the other more popular ones. Well, I suppose this one is popular in and of itself, but I prefer this one just because I prefer the way it makes the grass and mountains specifically look. I used to run this in conjunction with one of the other ones, but those two things combined took up nearly a gig of my total mod space, and I decided it wasn't worth it. Static Mesh Improvement mod, again, is another mod that I covered in my, you know, very first mod video. If you're interested in more details about that, go check that out. There will be a link down in the description below. No snow under the roof just kind of makes it so that if you're standing under an awning, that none of that rain will be, you know, punching through the awning or anything, or, you know, rain, snow, whatever. So again, just a little realistic tweak. Realistic Water 2 changes the water texture, pretty plain and simple. Waves is something that is by no means necessary, but it adds some wave animations to the shores of Skyrim. So, you know, on the northern parts where you can get near the ocean and everything, it'll add a wave animation to the edge of the water. It's just kind of a nice polish thing. Forgotten Dungeons adds in a whole bunch of extra dungeons, which is kind of neat. I don't know if I've actually gone into any of them yet, but again, just a neat little addition. Fallen Trees, again, kind of an immersion thing. Just add some random fallen trees all throughout the, you know, area of Skyrim. Some of them are crossing over, you know, rivers and that kind of thing, or waterfalls as it shows in the picture, but others don't. I've mastered the Summit, which is a very cool mod. I actually recommend this. It adds more of a lived-in feel to some of the wilderness areas, as you can see in the picture, sort of. And if you go to the mod, it will show pictures of, you know, like rope bridges and all this kind of stuff, like kind of going up cliffs where it would make sense for them to be. Lush Overhaul, Dense Grass, and Skyrim is Windy all affect the flora of Skyrim, you know, making the flora more frequent and everything. It kind of fills out the environment a little bit more, and then Skyrim is windy, makes it so that the grass and the flowers and the trees and everything are animated a little bit to show wind. It's really nice, and kind of one of those things that I didn't realize how much of a difference it was going to make until I had it, and I honestly don't think I could go back now. And at just 55 kilobytes, like, you can't not have it, really. The Girly Animation is something that I've been testing out recently. It changes the animation for female bipeds. It's interesting because now, you know, the women characters aren't walking around like they're tanks, because, you know, they share the same animations as the guys, and since the main race in Skyrim are the, you know, big strong Nords, like, it was always a little odd to see the women walking as if they had broad shoulders and that kind of thing. So again, it's something I might get rid of. It's completely just extra fluffy crap. Apocalypse, Ordinator, the compatibility patch, Summer Mist, the Aurora Standing Stones of Skyrim, and Imperious Races of Skyrim are all mods done by the same guy. They add to and or tweak existing systems within the game. Apocalypse adds tons of different spells. Ordinator kind of completely redoes the perk system, giving new skills and all that kind of stuff. And those two are covered in the mod video that's linked down in the description. Summer Mist kind of does the same thing. It just kind of overhauls the enchantments in the game. Aurora Standing Stones does the same thing for the Standing Stones, and Imperious Races of Skyrim, again, kind of overhauls the races and what sort of bonuses and that kind of thing that they get. The 50% more perk points and perk points per level are in here because of the Ordinator perks of Skyrim. They just make it so that you get more perk points each level or every other level. I think it's kind of necessary with Ordinator simply because it does add so many different skills, but you don't need to have it. It's just something that I roll with because you can unlock so many different nodes, and it kind of gets to a point where you if you're only getting one skill point per level and you have like 10 or 15 different skills that you're trying to level up, it can make things a little slow to progress. Immersive Citizens is pretty self-explanatory. If you're interested in it, I can do a full video on it later on, but it's an AI overhaul mod that it kind of increases immersion just simply by making the AI do normal things. You know, like they'll go home at night, sit down, eat dinner, all that kind of stuff. There are different unique conversations that can happen in Skyrim, like by default. This mod increases that. It does a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Diverse Dragons adds in a ton of different dragons with new abilities and all that kind of stuff. I really, really enjoy it because the, you know, default, like, I think 4 types of dragons or something like that there used to be got old after a while. This makes that pretty much a non-issue. Realistic wildlife behavior is something that I might end up getting rid of, but I honestly don't know. It does some nice things, like it, you know, makes wildlife act appropriately. You know, bears and, you know, the saber cats and that kind of thing will be a little more aggressive, but wolves seem to be fairly docile. It's a little weird. So, it causes some other issues, like I've seen rabbits underwater, along with some other, like, really, really strange things. But, for the most part, it does what I want it to. Realistic Conversations kind of overhauls the conversations that the AIs have with you and with each other. It makes it so that their engagement distance with you is much shorter, so you actually pretty much have to approach a person before they talk to you, as opposed to in the vanilla game where, you know, they will literally start, like, yelling at you from across the street. I think it's a nice little tweak, and again, small file, so it's not that big a deal. The RS Children overhaul changes how some of the kids look. It makes their faces more realistic, that kind of thing. This is a patch for the Moon and Star quest for this mod. And then I have Sofia, the funny, fully voiced follower. It's a follower mod, obviously. Fully voiced, very well done, actually. It's kind of fan servicey because she does make a lot of suggestive commentary, but that's, an entirely different issue. I enjoy having a fully voiced companion follow me around, and this is the one that I happen to pick up. There may be better ones out there, but at this point, I don't really want to have to deal with that, so I'm just kind of sticking with her for now. I may change it up later on. Immersive Winches and Immersive Patrols do, kind of the same thing, just with different groups. Immersive Patrols will add faction patrols to all the roads of Skyrim. Immersive Winches adds quote-unquote wenches to a lot of the pubs and inns and that kind of thing. So there will be essentially barmaidens that will serve you drinks and all that kind of stuff in all of the taverns. There will be an extra one, more bards, that kind of stuff. Enhanced blood textures, pretty self-explanatory. Immersive sounds completely redoes the sound system. I highly recommend this mod. I can go into more detail later on if you want. If you do want to see me cover that video, or cover that mod, rather, in a different video, leave a comment below. Skyrim Player Revoiced is a voice mod that packages up custom voice acting that has been redone, and there is one for every race, I think, and every gender of every race. They're very well done, and honestly, after a while, I completely forgot I had it installed. And, if you ask me, if I forget that it's installed, that means it's a good mod. Reverb and Ambience Overhaul just kind of tweaks a lot of the audio stuff, makes it so that certain things echo more in certain places, all that kind of stuff. Re-outfitted guards and soldiers will, again, re-outfit all the guards and everything. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to be doing what I can to shorten my explanations. Unique loot does exactly that. It changes up the loot system and that kind of thing. The Star Thieves and Assassins makes it so that specific rewards for main quest and that kind of thing will be more compatible with thieves. So if you're doing the main quest and you complete a quest and you would normally get a two-handed sword, if you're a thief, that's useless to you. So instead it's going to, give you a bow or some light armor or something like that. So it just kind of makes the quest rewards make more sense. Rich Merchants of Skyrim does, pretty much that. It makes all the merchants have at least 10,000 gold. This is a hair mod, offers a bunch of different hairstyles. This it changes up the facial models and everything for all the females and everything. It makes them, look better, a little more up to date, more realistic, that kind of thing. This is the same thing, but with the rest of the body. Natural eyes changes eye textures to be more realistic. Beast skeletons makes it so that all the skeletons, well, not all the skeletons, but some of the skeletons in the game, and they are logically placed, so you won't find Argonian skeletons in a Nord, burial chamber or something, but there will be Argonian skeletons and Khajiit skeletons, so it just kind of, again, a little immersion. Cloaks and Capes and Winter is Coming adds different capes and cloaks to the game that work well with Frostfall. You don't have to have Frostfall in order to get these, but if you do have Frostfall, it is highly recommended that you get this because it will kind of add that little bit of extra immersion, and if you're wearing a big old furry cape, then you will be warmer and that kind of thing. Ars Metallica was covered in the video in the description below. Eso Sky Shards will add Sky Shards to the Skyrim world from the Elder Scrolls Online. If you don't know how that works or anything, then I can explain it later in a different video if you want, but it's essentially you pick up 3 shards, you get a perk point. This is a armor pack for the Legends Breton Knight, again from Elder Scrolls Online. Scoped bows adds scoping mechanisms basically to every bow, so if you like to play with your crosshairs turned off like I do, then this will help you aim your bow. This is kind of the same thing as the body model changes, except it applies it to the armor and everything. Belt fastened quivers is exactly that. It makes it so that your quiver is fastened to your belt as opposed to your back. Better shaped weapons changes the models of a lot of the vanilla weapons. Makes them, look better. So like a longsword is, going to be thinner and longer, that kind of thing. Lampposts of Skyrim and Point the Way adjust the signage and everything along the roads. Lampposts will add different posts with lamps, conveniently enough, helping light the main roads. Point the Way just adds more signs to all the signposts so that you can more easily navigate the world of Skyrim without having to open up your map. Lore-based loading screens is exactly that, just adds in a whole bunch of extra loading screens that are lore-friendly and don't just, give you gameplay tips and that kind of thing. Insignificant object remover, again, something that I covered in the previous video. FPS Boost is something similar to Insignificant Object Remover, except it does things to intentionally, boost the FPS of the game. Primarily, it lowers the resolution of rain, snow, and leaf particles to help improve performance. And then, no borders, Solstheim. So, that is my mod load order. Sorry this video took way longer than what I had been thinking it was going to. But I will probably edit it down so that you guys don't have to hear me drone on. If you have any questions about any of these mods, feel free to leave a comment below. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a like, share it with your friends, all that kind of good stuff. And as always, if you have any mods that you would like to hear me talk about, then feel free to leave a comment. In the meantime, I will see you guys next time on Split Couch Games.